had a conversation with the group a while back about tithing that I thought was really interesting, spun up some interesting ideas. And tithing is easily one of the hardest topics in the church for good reason. Probably very similar to every other hard, like just really hard topic for people to swallow because of how hard finances are, how hard money is, how we take it personally, how you don't talk about finances with your closest friends. In fact, I remember a few weeks ago, my brothers were in town and we were talking about finances and stuff. And I was like, how much do you guys have saved up for retirement? And my mom flipped around and she was like, whoa, that is personal information. Are you guys sure you should be talking about that? And I was like, oh yeah, are you guys okay with talking about that? Like, obviously I would be. It's just funny because finances are tough. It's really personal. And I don't blame anybody for struggling with tithing. It's very, very difficult. I am fortunate in that I grew up with the tradition, and so I don't struggle with it, but I also don't think about it a lot. I don't wish I had more money, and so I do feel very blessed in that way. When people come to me and they talk about their struggles with tithing, oftentimes it's sometimes it's I just need more money. Oftentimes when the struggle is deep, it's more like, why does a rich church need my money? And they frame it in terms of basically corporations. Like I shop at the cheapest, highest quality, fastest places, the ones that offer the best service and best product. Why is this company or church asking for my money if I don't agree with their product? And so, talking to the group, it was really interesting because the question got brought up, well, why should I still pay tithing if I don't agree with how the church spends the tithing? Which is a fantastic question that it hits at so many good angles, and it's a really good one to tease through to kind of figure out where you are with your own testimony of tithing, because there are many who struggle with this in the sense that if the church was to do something with the tithing dollars that they don't agree with, then they feel that means they can justify stop paying tithing. And when you talk to them about it, the reason that they feel justified to not pay tithing when the church spends it the way they don't like is because they feel like they could take their money and spend it better. So just as an example, like, again, this is kind of comical for me, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are, that would hear this and not think it's funny. But the church is spending the tithing money in that way. I'm going to take my tithing, that 10%, I'm going to take that tithing and I'm going to donate it to another charity that I know is more effective with the money. And in doing so, I would still consider myself temple worthy and good Christian and being responsible with the commandment of giving back to the community. And that because of that, I can either fulfill my obligation of tithing or even outperform the obligation of tithing because I can spend it better than the church. And that's the part that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy that some people really think that tithing is like some kind of performance metric in order to encourage blessings or maybe even more blessings, which is just wild to me. And the main reason is because I know the stories of, I think it's called the Safety Society, right, where the church lost a bunch of money. And the church has been bad with finances for a long time. They've only recently been good with finances. Good as in like getting a return on an investment. But for a long time, they were terrible with finances, like famously terrible. And during that time, it would have been easy to justify not paying tithing, if that was your metric of like whether or not the church is reliable with the money, I guess. So I asked the group, like, but what if the church lost all your money? What if you gave the church $1 and it just lost it? Like, oops, we didn't know where it went. Sorry, it's gone. We're going to need more tithing now. So in that case, they're not being responsible with your tithing. They're losing it. And then you feel justified not paying tithing because you can do better with it. But yet somehow, like, it doesn't change the commandment or the covenant, right? Like, the covenant is not dependent on how effective the church is at spending the money. So they could literally set the money on fire and the commandment and covenant would still stand to pay your tithing, which is great because that's what the covenant is there. Like, that's what the commandment's all about. It doesn't have anything to do with money. And I think that it's fantastic mental exercise, little thought experiment to go through to just see where you're at. Because I'm sure, especially now, especially in the last 20 years probably, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are like, I am so grateful. In the past 20 years, I'm so grateful to be able to give 10% of my money to an organization that I know will do so much good with it. Oh, isn't that just amazing that I have this trusted organization to give my money to? And not everybody says that, I know. But I'm sure that's a lot of people that say that. But those are a lot of those people are the same people that would be disappointed, frustrated, livid if the church wasn't that organization that was so great with their money. And so in thinking about that, what is the proper way to frame your tithing, right? Like what is the proper way to think about tithing so you don't fall in the trap of I do it because it's a good outcome, because they help so much, because they give so much welfare. Like if that's not the right reason to pay tithing, then what is the right reason to pay tithing? And a lot of people will say it's just because the right reason is because God asked us to. Other people, another good answer is we pay tithing so that we're not a slave to tithing. And I personally, I think that that's probably the best answer. It's the same thing with the Sabbath day. Like, why do we try not to do worldly things on the Sabbath day? And it's so that we can break from the world and not be a slave to the world. Like, I don't want to be a slave to my job, and so I choose not to work on Sunday. And that helps me have some limitations to how much I'm willing to bring the world into my life. That's the same thing with money. And so I just find it interesting that people get wrapped up in these testimony traps, I call it, where you have a testimony and you don't realize it, but there's these like trap doors all over the floor of the house of your testimony, and you walk around your house and you're navigating through your testimony and you think everything's great, everything's fine. All of a sudden you fall through this trap door. You're like, where did that come from? Oh, it's because I had a piece of my testimony had a weak foundation, and that's because I didn't realize it, but I was paying tithing for the wrong reason. I was paying tithing because it was something that I could tell people like, yeah, we do so much financial good in the church. And then if that ever changes, I'm heartbroken because, my testimony was on the wrong thing. So, if somebody says like, are you still paying tithing to that church that just burns money all the time? What are you going to say? If the church suddenly starts doing terrible with finances, what are you going to say? Like, yeah, I guess I do. I mean, I don't like it. I don't want to. No, you say, yeah, I do pay tithing to a church that burns money because the reason I pay tithing has nothing to do with what they do with the money. So fun little thought experiment. We had some fun with it in Elders Quorum a little while ago. And I thought that some good conversation came from it just to kind of check myself and see where I'm at. All right. See you guys.